Guys, today we're going to be talking about 10 weapons that I think all of you should have. Weapons that make a big difference in your arsenal. And I know we currently have a ton of weapons in the game. Folks even brought up how fatiguing getting all these weapons are, especially the crafted version of these weapons can be, which is why I wanted to narrow down the 10 that you should 100% go for. By the way, with every single one of these, we'll be listing where and how to obtain these weapons, as well as the desired god roll for each of these. Now understand, these are only new weapons since Witch Queen. I did not include things like the Dares of Eternity weapons, although those are very good, especially things like the BXR. Check out a review for that one. But if there is anything to take away from this video, having these weapons going into not only the next season, but the next annual expansion could make a big difference for your overall player lethality. So starting with Riptide. Now I know this is a fusion rifle many of us don't really talk about, but it actually is an amazing weapon. It deals great damage. It also has crowd control with rolls like Chill Clip. And honestly guys, it's better than even most exotic weapons. Having features like auto-loading holster and Chill Clip combined is a really deadly combination. Now, in order to get Riptide, it's actually one of the Crucible rewards. And when you actually rank up through shacks, those vendor rank ups actually unlock a host of other trait combinations that you can have on a single weapon. Like literally an entire column full. So even though this weapon is not a craftable weapon, it's still very unique all on its own. Now, the next weapon on this list is Calus Mini Tool. Guys, this SMG right here packs a hell of a punch. And that's simply because it can roll with rolls like Threat Detector and Incandescence. But to take it a step further, you can also roll it with Enhanced Threat Detector and Enhanced Incandescence. Now, considering this is an SMG and you're going to be in close proximity of your enemies, with Enhanced Threat Detector, this greatly increases reload stability and handling, and Enhanced Incandescence, despite it still being kind of buggy, says that defeating a target spreads a longer lasting scorch to those nearby, and more powerful combatants and opposing guardians cause scorch in a larger radius. The main takeaway from this is more kabloomies, and for Solo 3.0, Incandescent is so good. Put this on an SMG, fellas, this roll right here will do wonders for you. Now, in order to get this SMG, you can loot Castellum chests and purchase from the Crown of Sorrow Focusing, which requires opulent Umbro energy. This is a craftable weapon, so ideally you do want to get the upgrades to eventually pull Calus Mini Tool, whether it's week to week for those deep sights, and then eventually you will have the weapon pattern for this SMG, and it's definitely worth the grind. And in the least, while you're trying to go for Calus Mini Tool, there are other weapons that you can be unlocking all at the same time, things like All Stringer, Drain, both of which are very good inside of PvP. Now, I'm not necessarily recommending those weapons. Again, we're mainly focusing on the PvE side of things for this video. Now, next we have Sweet Sorrow. Listen guys, I know that 720 might not be your thing, but believe me when I tell you, Sweet Sorrow is one deadly auto rifle. This 720 has the ability to roll both stats for all and one for all together, which by the way synergizes beautifully. Combine that with the rate of fire here, and you've got a bullet hose of a weapon, which by the way sports the origin trait Land Tank, which actually increases resilience and damage resistance against combatants. This trait right here is a very good trait. Now, the beautiful thing about Sweet Sorrow is of course its ability to have enhanced traits. It is a craftable weapon, so enhanced stats for all and enhanced one for all, both of which now grant an improved duration over its base versions. Now, not by a lot, but if you're a perfectionist like us, you'll of course want to go for that extra duration. Now, some weapons are actually really good inside of PvP as well as PvE, and I gotta say, Sweet Sorrow is actually a force to be reckoned with inside of PvP. I know, it's got a 3.8 rating on Light GG, but don't kid yourself guys, this 720 rips. Now, Sweet Sorrow actually drops from Scion Battlegrounds through the war table at the helm. You can actually focus Ingrams, which does require Umbro energy in order to get drops of Sweet Sorrow. Again, similar to Calus Mini Tool, definitely worth the grind, definitely worth investing in those upgrades. So make sure you get it, fellas. Now, the next weapon on our list is Recurrent Impact. That's right, a machine gun. Now, a big reason for this is that machine guns are actually going to be getting a buff. They've been getting buffs over and over again. Bungie even mentioned that maybe some of these buffs have gone too far, of which we say more Bungie. Recurrent Impact, though, is a stasis machine gun. It, too, is a craftable weapon with also the origin trait Land Tank. And the role you really want on this one is Subsistence and One for All. Now, I know back in the day, many of us remember 21% Delirium. And don't get me wrong, Kill and Tally was definitely the perk that made 21% Delirium a pinnacle weapon. However, that Subsistence One for All role is so juicy. And being that this is a rapid fire frame, you're looking at deeper ammo reserves, a hell of a mag size, that in combination with Subsistence, auto reloading the weapon, and that beautiful buff of 35%. And if you have the enhanced version of One for All, that's 11 seconds of that 35% damage buff. Guys, Recurrent Impact is positioned so nicely for the upcoming machine gun buff. Definitely worth getting. And again, similar to our Sweet Sorrow, through Psyop Battlegrounds at the helm, you can focus Ingrams, which of course do require Umbro energy. And by the way, as far as Umbro energy goes, and pretty much all these energies, we'll have a little small description explaining how to obtain those currencies. Now, the next weapon on the list is Stormchaser. Guys, I know everyone is really on the taipan train, which don't get me wrong, I am too. I love taipan. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. However, Stormchaser has been a must-have for this season, specifically due to arc burn and pretty much every every Grandmaster Nightfall outside of Glassway. On top of that, one thing that really does make Stormchaser unique is that it's an aggressive frame linear fusion. That's right, the only linear fusion rifle that is an aggressive frame. Now, the beautiful thing that's on this linear is the combination of ionized battery, rapid hit or clown cartridge with, of course, firing line. Now, I know you can't exactly get a crafted version of this linear, but believe me, guys, all on its own, this is a 5 out of 5 weapon. It also comes with the origin trait Bitter Spite, where while the weapon is equipped, taking damage accelerates its next reload. It's a weapon that's both beneficial in DPS phases and in just dealing with champions. Its burst capabilities is really good. Now, in order to actually get Stormchaser, you will have to do the duality dungeon, specifically the Vault and Kaido encounters. However, you can farm those encounters, thus giving you the opportunity for Stormchaser to drop. Personally, I'm still chasing the God roll myself, but I will say, guys, definitely worth going after. And considering we just had to change the flinch inside of PvE for linear fusion rifles, landing those crits has become easier. And I know this is a 3-round burst linear fusion rifle, so you would think it would be more difficult to land those crits, but I'm telling you guys, it's gotten a bit easier with that most recent hotfix. Next on our list is arguably one of the best weapons in PvE, and that's Forbearance. Guys, this wave frame grenade launcher is so good. It literally is in a class of its own. It deals arc damage, so lots of synergy with Arc 3.0, especially this past season. It's a craftable weapon. It can roll with combinations like Ambitious Assassin and Chain Reaction. It is arguably the best wave frame in the game outside of maybe Dead Messenger, but even then, I would take Forbearance inside of PvE every single time, especially considering this bad baby is enhanced. We actually never individually reviewed this legendary, but by God, is it worth you doing the raid? Fellas, the only way to get Forbearance is actually to do the Vow the Disciple raid, and this can drop from the chest, but specifically it drops from Caretaker and the Rourke encounters. Now, like all the other raid weapons, you can get deep sight versions of these guns to eventually unlock the weapon pattern, and that's really where this weapon opens up. That enhanced Ambitious Assassin improves your reload speed. Might be a small thing, but it's still a nice change. That enhanced Chain Reaction improves ammo reserves. And again, for perfectionists like us out there, we of course want to go for those enhanced traits. I just can't wait until the day we actually can get the adept version of Forbearance with enhanced traits as well. Oh, moving on, another weapon from the raid that is definitely worth you going after is Cataclysmic. Cross, why are you just now telling us about these weapons? I know, guys, I'm sorry. This linear fusion rifle though is very, very good for a number of reasons. Number one, it's solar. Number two, again, like Forbearance, it does come with these Soul Drinker origin traits, which just helps with survivability. But the biggest thing about this weapon is its trait combinations. It can roll things like Enhanced Battery, 4 times the charm, and of course, Bait and Switch. Now, Bait and Switch, I know we don't really talk about it that much, but it actually gives you a 35% increase in damage for 10 seconds after you deal damage with your other weapons. That in combination with 4 times the charm, and you're constantly providing yourself more ammo, auto reloading, and that 35% weapon damage buff. And considering most of us in damage phases are swapping to our other weapons, maybe we're comboing it with Witherhoard or something else, proccing Bait and Switch is not that difficult to do. And again, 10 seconds. And that's its base version. Its enhanced version actually boosts that damage for an improved duration, which is probably like 11 seconds. But still, this is a very good linear. And again, for those solar burn activities, Cataclysmic is a fantastic option to have. Next up is Zaouli's Bane. This is actually the hand cannon from King's Fall. It deals solar damage, and it can roll trait combinations like Incandescent and Explosive Payload. Imagine a legendary version of Sunshot, which is essentially what Zaouli's Bane is. On top of that, being a raid weapon, you can also roll it with enhanced traits. So enhanced Incandescent and enhanced Explosive Payload, which honestly just improves range. So not like a huge benefit, but these weapons come with the origin trait Runneth Over, where reloading their allies overflows the magazine. So you can imagine how beneficial this is when it comes to just clearing an entire room of ads. Now, Zaouli's Bane drops from the King's Fall raid chest, but specifically from Daughters or the Oryx encounters. Definitely worth you going after, guys. I too am like still on the hunt to get the craftable version of this weapon. It's killing me, man, but it's worth you doing before next season, guys, especially if you're comboing it with Solar 3.0. Our next weapon that you most definitely need to lock down is Tarnished Mettle. Whoa, a scout rifle? Yes, and not just any scout rifle, a 200 round per minute arc scout rifle. Guys, this scout rifle right here is a craftable weapon this season. It comes with the right hook origin traits, which is not something you're necessarily going to be synergizing much, but dealing melee damage gives this weapon increased target acquisition and range for a short period of time. The main thing that you're going to want to be going for on this scout rifle is just the combination of rapid hits and volt shot together, and not just those two perks together, but enhance rapid hits, which by the way increases both stability and reload speed substantially, and enhance volt shot, where reloading this weapon after defeating a target overcharges this weapon for an improved short period of time, causing it to jolt on its next hit. Guys, talk about clearing a room. The synergy here is a beautiful thing, and this is one of those legendaries that really elevates itself to that of almost exotic status. Now, in order to get this scout rifle, you can get it through the Catch Crash activity, Master is Best here, Expeditions, and of course weapon focusing, which requires map fragments. You can also do star chart focusing, casting, which requires Plunder Umbral energy. Again though, get the upgrades there at the helm, as this is going to allow you to at least get one of these deep sights each week. And by the way, Bungie even brought up earlier this season that these weapons were way too grindy to get the weapon patterns for, and that has since been fixed. Now our final weapon on this list is taipan. Now I know we are mentioning linear fusion rifles a bunch, but guys, they're very, very good. In PvE, I have used taipan so many times. And the beautiful thing about this is that it only requires 2 deep sights in order to get. And it's arguably one of the easiest linear fusion rifles to get from this entire list. It does void damage, so it covers you and any of those burn activities. And it's literally become my most used linear fusion rifle in the game. Those enhanced traits is a beautiful thing to behold. Things like enhanced triple tap and enhanced firing line, or even clown cartridge combined with firing line. Did I mention this weapon also comes with Vice Stinger, where damaging an enemy with this weapon has a small chance to reload the weapon and increase movement speed while aiming down sights. So literally triple tap with firing line and Vice Stinger gives you more opportunities to proc that trait, thus allowing you to continue doing damage. This linear fusion rifle here, guys, is a must-have. You literally get 2 from the crafting quest, and it's an instant pattern. So seriously, guys, no reason not to have this weapon. So fellas, those are our list of 10 PvE weapons that you 100% need to have going into the next season. We'll also be making another list for PvP weapons. Big shout out to the editing squad for jumping on this one, as well as QJ, as well as my esteemed friends for pitching in on this and narrowing down a great list for everyone to go after. A lot of love was put into this video, guys, so again, a like is very much appreciated. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. We put out Destiny content literally daily. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.